Hey guys, I hope you're having a great day. I wanted to make this video today because I posted a couple of TikToks this week of food that I've been eating this week. And one of the things that I prepped last week was a big hit, and people wanted a recipe for it. So that's what I'm going to do today. So stay with me, and before I get started, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give me a thumbs up to let me know that you like this video, and don't forget to hit that bell notification as well. All right, so let's get into this recipe. What is this recipe? First of all, I'm going to put a picture here of what I posted on my Facebook and things like that. And it is chicken fingers. I had a bunch of chicken thighs left over, boneless, skinless, and so I cut them up into strips and I made them this way. So I wanted to show everybody what I did. This is a higher protein. It's going to have higher carbs in it depending on what you use. What I've got right now is this, and I got this at Sam's. This is 6 grams of carbs per 3/4 of a cup. So when you see the recipe, you'll know that's not too bad. And then I'm going to also use some fresh sage, some pickle juice, some eggs for the marinade, and then I'm going to use Porq Panko and some other spices and some Parmesan cheese. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and turn you down so that you can see what I'm doing. All right, now like I said, I'm going to use non-fat Greek yogurt. I got this one at Sam's, but I also use Fage. Now the difference, you need to look at the ingredients and the carb counts, because this one has 6 grams of carbs per serving. Fage has 5 grams, but all the others have 7. So just realize that there is a difference and try to get the lowest carb that you can, of course. So I'm going to take and put this whole container in here because I'm making a whole lot. What I do is I make a big batch of this, and I fully cook them through, but I don't get them fully browned so that I can put them in the freezer, and then when I heat them up in the air fryer, they don't get too overdone. Okay, and I used Greek yogurt the first time because I was desperate. I had a bunch left over and I needed to use it before it went bad. Okay, so that's in there. Now, the first time I made this, I did 3 eggs in a mostly full container. This time I'm switching it up a little bit, experimenting, and I'm putting half a cup of pickle juice in here. And then I'm going to use 2 eggs. So here's egg number 1. And egg number 2. And then we will stir it up and see how it looks. Okay, so this is the kind of the texture that you want. It's really loose but not super thin. I know that people use buttermilk and other things to soak their chicken in, so that was my thought on this. So the next thing I'm going to do is I've got some fresh sage from the garden, and I'm just going to put that in there as well. All right, so as you can see, I do have a big, a good amount of sage. And if you don't have sage, you can omit it. If you have dried sage, that'll work too. I just have a bunch of fresh sage that I'm trying to use up. So that's what this is. And as you can tell, I'm not doing a very good job of cutting it because I probably need to sharpen this knife, and I will before we get to the next stage, which is cutting the chicken. All right, so the sage is cut up Some of the pieces are bigger than others, but that's okay. We're just going to dump it in here and stir it around. I'm going to let that sit in there and kind of meld while I work on cutting up the chicken. So bear with me and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. And as you can see, I've got a pack of chicken thighs and some chicken breast tenderloins because I wanted you guys to see that you could do it with any meat. You don't have to stick to the chicken thighs. You can use chicken breast tenderloins, whatever you want. Now, I will say I pulled this out of my freezer. The pack that I used last week was actually one of the longer packs, so it actually had more meat in it than this. So that's another reason why I'm using the tenderloins, because I want to make sure that I get enough prepped. So I'm going to start with the thighs. And one thing that I do is I take off the obvious fat, because when I was on the 8-week challenge, one of the things we did was eat lower fat. I don't eat low fat, so I don't want you to think that that's what I'm doing here, because I still eat a fair amount of fat. But personally, I don't like the soft fat on these, so that's why I cut it off. You can leave it on if you want to. It doesn't really matter. It is your preference. But I'm going to go ahead and cut these up. As you can see, all I'm doing is I'm first taking off the fat, and then I'm just cutting it into strips. It's nothing fancy. It's nothing amazing. It's just as quick as you can do it so that it's easy. So when I come back, I will have all of the chicken thighs and breast tenderloins done. All right, I'm back, and this is the 2 packs of chicken. And so all I'm going to do is I'm going to stir it up and make sure that every piece gets well coated with the yogurt slash egg slash pickle juice mixture. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this and I'm going to cover it and set it in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes. Now, for the next 30 minutes, I'm actually going to be prepping some stuff for the coating so that you can see how that goes. I'm going to be using Porq Panko. I'm going to be using Parmesan cheese, my favorite spices, and of course some salt. And the salt I use is Redmond's now. So I will see you back in about 30 minutes. All right, guys, I have my glasses on for this one because I am really trying to find the difference. So I usually buy Porq Panko because every time in the past that I have tried to make Porq Panko, it has failed. It's been chunky, it's been not this good texture, it gets stuck together and clumpy, and it's not light and all of that. And so when these are $6, $7, and this is $7, and yes, that's all the Porq Panko I got from that. I think this is a better deal. So I tried once again today, and I used my Ninja blender, and this is what I ended up with. So I want you to put in the comments down below, is number 1 or number 2 the Porq brand? Because I think I'm very proud of myself today. So comment down below, 1 or 2, and I will I'll let you know later on in this video. All right, I'm back, and I'm going to show you, it's been about a half an hour that the chicken has been marinating. So let me go ahead and show you what the next steps are. Okay, so over here is our chicken. And what I'm going to do, this makes a lot, okay? I'm going to preface it by saying this makes a lot. So I'm going to take 1 and 2. Ugh, should have opened this before. Sorry. Well, good thing my husband's around. Okay, so here's the second one. Remember, this makes a lot. And I'm going to take 1 wedge of Parmesan cheese, and all I did was I put it in the Ninja blender and made it grated Parmesan cheese. I'm also going to add some of our favorite seasonings. This is Tone's Mediterranean herb. I don't normally, I just kind of dump. I don't normally measure them because I always want them nice and strong. I'm going to use some of this Red Lobster seafood seasoning because why not? And then I'm going to take some Redmond's real salt and put that in here too. Now I know it looks like I'm putting a lot of salt in here, but remember, this is going to be distributed, so it's going to be throughout. Now, I'm going to grab another globe. We're just going to mix it all up. It's easiest to mix it by hand, so that's why I do it. Of course, I should have gotten a bigger bowl, but that's okay. All right, now, once it's done, all you do is you start, I use these kinds of tongs because they're small, they're easy to handle, and I don't want to get my fingers yucky. And I just drop one at a time in, cover it up, and then put it on my parchment lined baking sheet. And I do this for the whole thing. Now, the last time I made this, it was about 3 baking sheets full. So like I said, it does make a lot. You'll be here for a while doing this, but realize it is worth it in the end. So when I come back, I will show you what they look like after they get out of the oven. Okay, I'm back. I finally put the last pan of chicken nuggets in the oven, and they're cooking, and my timer's going to go off in just a minute for the 4th pan. Yeah, so actually this made a lot more than the first time I made it, and I knew that I was using a little bit more, but it's nice to have that extra buffer of it. But I wanted to kind of show you how much I used of everything, because I know those looked like huge quantities. But let me turn this down and show you my bowls. Okay. Okay, so first up is the marinade, and as you can see, there's not much marinade left in this bowl. So yeah, it definitely took care of that. And this is how much of the panko that I have left, but I will tell you a secret. I had to actually add another about 3/4 of one of these in here, and I'm really glad I made up those extra panko because I used it. And I also wanted to kind of show you what they look like done. So this is what they look like done. And now I'm going to turn you back up and we're going to talk about them. Okay, so that's what they look like done. And They look nice and golden right now, but they are still kind of tender. I'm letting them cool on a baking rack because I want to let them completely cool before I bag them up and put them in the freezer. Now, the best thing that I do is that I make these so that they're not very brown on the bottom and not very brown on the top, so that when you put them into your air fryer or your oven to heat them back up, that it doesn't take much to cook them, first of all. When I do it, it takes about 5 to 7 minutes, depending on if they're in the refrigerator or if they're from the freezer at 360 degrees in the air fryer, or because they're fully cooked already. They're safe. They can be eaten cold if you need to. And these are just really nice, easy treats. Not treats, but for the kids, yeah, great treat for the kids. And it's nice for us because we can just grab some, and I can't wait to try them and see if they taste like a little bit like Chick-fil-A, because I added that pickle juice, but we'll find out. Anyway, that is my recipe. I will be writing the ingredients down below and kind of give you an idea of portions that I used. And I cooked them at 425 degrees for 15 minutes to get them done, but not overdone. So when you reheat them, they won't dry out. And that's it. I hope you like this recipe. I hope you have a great rest of the day. And if you try this recipe, please tell me what spices you used and what you thought of it. I don't know what else to say, so you guys have a great week, and remember to be the good in the world that you want to see, and that means start being good to yourself. Have a great day, and I will see you next time.